Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode of Coaching Conversations. And I wanted to make you aware of something very cool that we're doing on a subscription basis, and we'll put a link in each one of our episodes. But every Wednesday, we're going to be doing what we call an audio podcast workshop. That workshop will be roughly about 14 to maybe 20 minutes per episode, with each month having a theme from a coaching model, using feedback strategically, to coaching self-awareness, and so on. So if you could look in the body or in the content description of each episode, and you will see a link where you can join this subscription. These are literally 4 workshops every month, teaching specific strategies to address a particular area of workplace coaching, as it relates, again, to things like awareness, motivation, teamwork, and what have you. Here's the cool thing. It's only $10 per month, and each month you will get a handout that we will follow along with. So we also give you a tool for you to take notes as we go through each episode. We hope you'll check it out.
Now, when it comes to self-awareness, one of the greatest things we can do is use something that we teach at Progress Coaching called supplemental coaching. So if I have a relationship with somebody and they're struggling with self-awareness, I'll meet with them every single week or every 2 weeks, and that is called direct coaching. Now, the second thing that we also teach is something called the motivator. The motivator is an element or an aspect within our coaching framework where we're actually teaching people or how to coach people specific to their motivator. So if I'm coaching someone who's lacking self-awareness and he talks over people in staff meetings, yet he wants to get a promotion, I might say, well, John, I noticed a couple times when Jill and Susie were talking, you inserted yourself pretty aggressively. How do you think that will help or potentially hurt you when it comes to your goal of becoming a first-time manager? And what you do is you tie the motivator into your direct coaching and to cause self-awareness, to pause people to think. Now, supplemental coaching is one of the coolest strategies. It supplements what I just said. It supplements your direct coaching. So it could be reading a book, observing somebody, journaling those observations. It could be peer-to-peer coaching where they're teaching or practicing with one another. It could be a mentoring. It could be self-coaching. There's about 7 or 8 different strategies that we teach. I want to tell you a story about a person that we worked with, and he was a banker. And the president of the bank said, would you sit down with us, and I want to get your honest opinion of this guy. And I said, sure. We sit down, wonderfully nice guy, and I'll never forget it. He pointed at me and said, I can't wait to work with you. This is going to be so much fun. We were talking about networking. We're in the same community, and he pointed at me, and he actually touched my nose. I'm not making this up. He touched my nose. And I looked at him and he kept going. And the president of the bank kind of looked mortified, to be honest with you. And I, of course, with my humor, looked at him and I go, do you pick it too? He said, excuse me? I said, do you pick it? The nose. He said, what are you talking about? He had no idea. Now, here was the funny thing. Was not well liked. HR manager did not like him. It was one of the most amazing things I had ever really seen. Because when you sat down with this guy, he was loud. You'd come into the bank, he would yell across the lobby. It just got to a point where he was uncomfortable for other people to be around. He would blurt things out in the middle of staff meetings. And remember, the HR manager said, I can't stand working with this guy. I can't wait till he leaves the bank. Yet, void of his behaviors, it was always cloaked in helpfulness. It's actually one of the nicest, most helpful guys. He's the kind of a guy you could call at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, look, I don't know you really well. I found your business card. I'm stuck. Could you come get me? He'd come get you. So we did something very interesting. After the lunch, the banker said to me, the president of the bank said, I really got to sit down and spend more time with him. And I said, it's interesting. I don't know if I'm right, but I want to try something unique. I want to use supplemental coaching. And he said, okay. And I said, I think he gets stimulated by the interaction of other people. He said, what do you mean? I said, I think when he gets around other people, it creates this behavioral set of attributes that are so irritating because he just wants to help. And the president of the bank goes, boy, that's really interesting. I hadn't looked at it like that. I said, I'm guessing here. It's a strong impression I have. So here's the 2 supplemental coaching things we did. This bank happens to be across from a Starbucks. Now, I'm not a coffee drinker, yet I drink hot chocolate, and I occasionally go over there. And the one thing I love about Starbucks is I think the people behind the counter are well-trained. I think they do a very good job. And it was really interesting. We would send him over there twice a week with a notebook. We said, just journal, just write down the observations of the people behind the counter and how they interact with each other and how they serve their customers. And just write it down, but go alone. The second thing we did is we had him read the book Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Travis Bradbury. About 60 to 90 days later, no one-on-one coaching, by the way. He comes to us and he says, do you guys think I lack emotional intelligence? And we're like, well, yeah, we do. He said, what's interesting? I said, why? He said, well, when I journal my observations of the people at Starbucks, I noticed something. I'm a lot calmer. I said, you seem calmer. I said, I don't think the lack of calmness has been a problem. It just manifests itself in an impression that I think kind of undermines you because it's really cloaked in helpfulness. He said, I've never thought about this. It was the most calm conversation. Now, let me not mislead you. He wasn't cured, for lack of a better description, yet he was starting to become aware. So when he was reading, he was starting to ask himself, is this me? When he saw the people behind the counter at Starbucks and he's journaling how friendly they were, how considerate, how they talked to each other, how they listened to each other, he started to realize, I wonder if I interact with my teammates that well. Within about 6 to 9 months, I don't like the phrase, he was a completely different person. He was a really improved self-aware person. So remember, supplemental coaching supplements your direct coaching and it accelerates talent development. Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.